So on my last video, I actually communicated to you guys that I want to display the process in which it takes for me to actually write an entire episode of Impetus, an entire episode of a wrestling television show. So I want to do that with you guys and give you a little bit of an example of what it is that I go through every time I want to write an episode for Impetus. Let's go. Alright, so I don't just jump right into writing an entire episode. It actually takes a little longer to get to that stage. How I do that is essentially you'll see that folder there before. I'm opening up separate Microsoft Word documents, and that's what you're seeing here as we speed through. I'm actually writing separate stories in their entirety, like over a week by week basis, as opposed to putting them on episode by episode. I feel like when doing that, I actually did episode by episode writing, in the early episodes of Impetus. And it actually made me really impatient because I couldn't wait to get to certain things on the card. So it left me really impatient. So splitting them up effectively allows me to get the most out of my creativity. This process takes a long time. There's so many pages, thousands of words just for one rivalry, and it isn't as easy as just whipping up some matches and chucking a random promo just to make it suffice. You may notice, or you may not notice that because it's sped up a lot, but I'll tend to edit as I go, like changing things into something I think is better without it be, whether it be like dialogue or actions. But you'll notice here, it's not just writing. I actually do a little bit of research coming up. I actually find it for this bit here for Akira. You're seeing the women's stuff here. I've got a new finisher in mind, and this is what I'm talking about, the YouTube kind of stuff. I have the idea of a pump handle neck breaker, and I wanted to see if it was actually done before. I wanted to see if it was actually used, and more so how to actually describe it and communicate it, write it down for all of you to actually understand what I'm thinking. So as we speed through here, what you're basically seeing is me writing on the spot as well, leading up to me actually sitting down and writing these scenes down. It's really only in my head where these segments actually live. Sometimes, as you can see, there's a lot of stopping, a lot of gaps in the writing. And that's not the screen lagging, that's my brain lagging. As you can see here, I find myself voicing out the promos, acting out the moves and spots in my office, just so that, just like with the YouTube video, I can actually understand what's happening and how to actually communicate it. Again, it's not as simple as guy A hits a frog splash on guy B, because it's not real. You can't see it. As a booker and writer, I need to communicate a lot of detail that goes into some moves, just because I really want to allow you all to imagine, if you will, what I'm seeing for these scenes. So what we're going to be moving to next here as we finish off the speeding up, this is another screen recording of me basically opening up episode 105. The entirety, the finished version of episode 105. So with those separate documents, that was effectively me writing from episode 105 and onwards. So then if you would like to go back and hit slow motion, which you probably wouldn't, but there'd be some copy and paste, and there'd be some copy and pasting into this episode, and they're all sprinkled through from those separate documentations. But there's also things that I placed in between and after all those things from those documentations, so that I can fill out this card. And all those things, they're not just filler, they're processes of character evolution as well. Those separate documentations were me just focusing on the main 4 or 5, and again, I'm placing other things in these episodes to fill out the times. And you can see there, speaking of times, I actually did timestamps throughout the entirety of the segments, and I got an overall show time there of just under 2 hours. I like to do a 2-hour show. Everything's color coded so that I can keep on top of certain, certain rivalries at certain times. So, but yeah, this is episode 106. So I didn't previously record episode 105, but I did episode 106. And this is me writing the entirety of it all out, copy and pasting from those previous documentations on the Microsoft Word documents. You'll notice coming up that I actually have a little bit of a brain fart in writing for this episode. I got a little tag match involved, and I really didn't know what to do. So that's going to come up in a second. It's really interesting what I do here. I have a tag team match, and I actually open up another documentation where I've just put all my ideas at random times over the past year or two. And if they suit and if they fit for particular times, then it works, and I'm going to put it in. And it worked for that. I literally just put down funny tag team stuff ideas that I came up with while watching wrestling, while on the toilet, anytime. And I go back to it. And that was my inspiration. I actually went, you know what, I'm a bit stuck here. I've got a bit of a brain fart, a little bit of a writer's block. And that document actually helped me come up with a certain spot in the match that was not only funny, but essential to, no pun intended, but essential to the characters involved. So again, as you can see here, you see the calculator come out there. I'm timestamping everything. I'm calculating everything up to see how much longer I can have the show run for, to see if I can chuck in another match, another promo. So look, as we come to an end here, I know it's very scattered. This isn't the greatest video of all time, but I didn't want to show you 5-6 hours of me writing stuff down. I put it in a very fast video for you, but yeah, effectively, that's what I'm doing here. I'm riding through, I'm making everything as fun as possible for myself, as exciting and as fluid as possible. And I'm really hoping that this is communicating the process and the ideas that I go through when I'm writing this stuff. It's so intense for my brain sometimes. It's chaotic, but it's also so fun, it's exciting, and it's so rewarding seeing the entire episode come to life. Thanks a lot for watching and for listening. Until then, adios.